Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a look at the language of college life.
Yeah, it's a whole world, isn't it? And our source today, talking about college and English, it really dives into the words and phrases people use for, higher education.
And right off the bat, it highlights something interesting, the whole UK versus US thing.
hmm Like university is pretty standard in British English, but you hear college way more often in American English, even for similar kinds of places.
Exactly. So our mission today basically is to pull out the key vocabulary, the useful phrases, how people actually talk about college, all based on this resource.
It's like a shortcut, really, whether you're thinking about going or you're already there, or maybe you're just curious about it all.
Yeah. If you want to get a handle on how people chat about college, well, you're in the right place.
Okay, so where do we start? I guess with the basics, the foundational words you absolutely need. The resource lays these out pretty clearly.
Right, let's jump in. So you've got course or degree. They both kind of mean the big program you're doing.
Yeah, the overall study path. Then, specifically in the US, you'll hear major. That's your main focus.
And in the UK.
It's usually just your subject. Same idea, different word.
Got it. And the people teaching professor seems common everywhere.
Pretty much, yeah. But in the UK, you also hear lecturer a lot and tutors, and their roles might be slightly different, maybe more focused teaching sessions or direct student support compared to a U.S. professor sometimes.
Okay. And the actual classes?
Well, there's the lecture, usually the big group session, lots of info coming at you.
Uh-huh.
Then you have smaller groups like a seminar or a tutorial. That's where you get more discussion, more interaction.
Right, where you can actually talk things through. And the whole place itself.
That's the campus, the buildings, the grounds, everything.
And where students live.
Yeah.
That differs too, right?
Yeah, definitely. In the U.S., it's often dormitory, or people just say dorm.
Mm-hmm.
But in the UK, you're more likely to hear halls, short for halls of residence, or just student accommodation. It really shapes the social side of things.
Makes sense. Okay, what about the actual work?
Ah, yes. Assignment is a good general word for any task. Could be an essay, written work, or maybe a bigger project.
And how they test you.
Exam is universal. But in the U.S., you often hear final for the end of term one and midterm for the one halfway through.
Right. And there's credit too, like credit hours.
Exactly. That's a big one in the U.S. system especially. It's like how much academic weight a course carries towards your degree.
Okay. And the money side.
Tuition fees, what it costs, and often the student loan to help pay for it all.
Phew, quite a list already. The resource gives a neat little example sentence putting some of these together.
Yeah, it does. It says, I'm doing a degree in psychology. I attend lectures 4 times a week, and we have group discussions and seminars.
See, that really shows how you'd use them naturally. Okay, so that's the basic toolkit.
Now let's talk about how you actually share your own college story. The resource has some really practical phrases for this part.
Good, yeah. So like saying when you started.
Simple stuff. I started college in 2022. Easy.
Or where you are now.
I'm in my second year. Clear, concise.
And explaining what you study and where.
I study, economics at, say, the University of Manchester. Or you'd say college, if it's a U.S. place usually.
Right, and describing the place itself.
Phrases like, the campus is really big, or modern, or maybe beautiful. Give a feel for it.
What about the people?
You could say, there are students from all over the world, which is true for so many places now.
Yeah, definitely. And the facilities.
Easy. We have great facilities, a big library, sports center, and study areas. Just listing the resources.
These are really useful building blocks.
Totally. And the example they give is quite nice. I study economics at the University of Manchester. It's my second year, and I really enjoy it. The course is challenging but interesting, and the campus has a great vibe.
That packs a lot in. Your subject, year, location, how you feel about it, even the atmosphere.
Exactly. It's a good template.
Okay, so we've covered introducing yourself and the basics. Now let's dig a bit deeper into talking about your actual course, the nitty-gritty.
Right. So getting specific. If you have a main subject and maybe a focus within that.
How would you say that?
Well, in the U.S., you'd say, I'm majoring in biology, and I'm specializing in genetics, for example. Majoring is very U.S., but the idea of a main subject and a specialism is pretty common.
Okay. And describing the style of the course.
You could say the course is very theory-heavy, or maybe it's more practical or research-based. Gives a sense of the learning style.
And the workload.
Something like we have weekly assignments and 2 big exams each term. Sets expectations.
What if you really like the hands-on stuff?
You might say, I like working in the lab and doing experiments.
And describing the teaching.
You could say the classes are interactive or the professors are approachable. Those are good positive signs, right?
Yeah, definitely things people want to know. The example here is about computer science.
All right, I study computer science. It's a mix of theory and hands-on coding. Some modules are tough, like algorithms, but I really enjoy problem solving and building software.
That give a really clear picture. The mix, the challenges, what the person actually enjoys about it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, so shifting gears a bit, away from pure academics, what about just daily life, the routine, the whole student experience?
Ah, yes. The everyday stuff, like your morning.
Could be simple. I wake up at 7:30 and head to my 9 a.m. lecture.
Or your schedule.
I have classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Straightforward.
And what you do when you're not in class?
After class, I usually study at the library or maybe grab a coffee with friends. Shows your habits.
And extracurriculars,
Yeah.
clubs and things.
Yep. I'm part of the debate club and the film society. Shows your interests outside of study.
A lot of students work too, right?
Definitely. So you might hear, I work part-time as a barista to earn some extra money. It's a common reality,
These details really paint a picture.
for sure. The resource gives a more detailed example, too. I usually get up around 8 a.m. and have a lecture at 9:30. After that, I hang out with friends or do some work in the library. On Thursdays, I attend a language exchange event. It's great for meeting people and practicing English.
That sounds like a pretty typical busy student week. Mix of study, social, and maybe some self-improvement stuff.
Exactly. Which leads us nicely into the whole social side of things. Friends, social life,
Hmm.
it's a huge part of college.
Absolutely essential for most people. So what kind of words pop up here?
Well, there's who you live with.
Hmm.
Flatmate in the UK, roommate in the US.
Okay.
People in your classes are just classmates. And that first week,
Ah, yeah. Orientation week in the U.S.
and Freshers Week in the UK, that big introductory period with loads of social events.
Right. And general social stuff.
Going for a night out,
Oh.
maybe visiting the student bar. Academically social things could be a group project for a course or forming a study group,
And more informal gathering.
like a house party or some kind of student event organized on campus.
Gotcha. And phrases to talk about making friends and stuff.
Yeah, the resource suggests things like, I made a lot of friends during the first semester. Shows how connections form.
Or about living with people.
My roommates are great. We cook together and hang out in the evenings.
Hmm.
Gives a sense of that dynamic.
And mixing study and social.
We often study together before exams.
Mhm.
That happens a lot.
True. And just the general buzz on campus.
You could say, there's always something happening on campus, concerts, workshops, or film nights.
Mhm.
Highlights the activity level.
The example here is about living in student housing.
Yeah. Living in student accommodation was a bit strange at first, but now I love it. My flatmates are from different countries, so it's a mix of cultures. We usually cook meals together on weekends.
That really captures the adjustment period and then the positive side, especially the cultural mix.
It's a common experience.
Okay, so as people go through all this, they obviously form opinions about it all. How do they express those?
Well, there's a range, isn't there? You might get something broadly positive like, I think college is a great opportunity to grow and learn.
Or acknowledging the tough parts.
Yeah, maybe. It can be stressful, but it teaches you independence. That kind of balanced view.
What about the freedom aspect?
That comes up too. I enjoy the freedom to study what I love.
But then there's the cost.
Always a factor.
Mm.
College is expensive, and sometimes I wonder if it's worth the cost. That's a very real sentiment for many.
And opinions on the actual teaching.
Can be mixed. Some lectures are boring, but others are really engaging. Just being honest about the variability.
Right. The example here tries to sum up that complexity.
Yeah, it says, college has taught me more than just academics. I've learned how to manage my time, live independently, and meet people from around the world. Yes, it's stressful sometimes, but it's also exciting.
That feels very relatable. It's not all one thing, is it? It's rewarding and challenging.
Exactly. It captures that duality well.
So finally, looking beyond college, what comes next? The future plan section.
Right? The what happens after conversation. Could be about careers. I want to become a software developer. Very specific goal.
Or more study.
I'm thinking about doing a master's degree. Common path for some.
What about taking a break?
That's the gap year idea.
Yeah.
You might say, I might travel or do an internship after I graduate.
And sometimes people just don't know yet.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
So you might hear, I'm still not sure, but I'm exploring different options. Acknowledges the uncertainty.
Yeah. The example given touches on a couple of possibilities.
hmm After I graduate, I'd like to work in the education sector, maybe as a teacher or curriculum designer. But I'm also interested in doing a master's in linguistics. Shows someone weighing up different interests.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground there, starting from the basic words right through to future plans.
Yeah, we really have. All drawn from that idea of talking about college and English. We hit the core vocabulary, introducing yourself, talking specifics about your course, daily life, the social scene, sharing your opinions.
And looking ahead, it's quite comprehensive.
So, inspired by the challenge idea you often get in these learning guides, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about.
Yeah, like reflect on your own experiences with learning or maybe your future goals. Even if college wasn't your path, how would you use some of this language to talk about, say, a course you took, or a skill you learned, or what you hope to do next?
It's a good exercise. And the resource mentioned maybe having a college speaking practice guide or something similar. If you want to get more comfortable using these phrases, seeking out those kinds of practice materials could be really helpful.
Definitely. Because ultimately, understanding this kind of language, the words people use to describe big life experiences like college, it just helps us connect, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Whether it's your own experience or someone else's, language is that bridge. It helps us understand each other a bit better.